Hi there. Welcome back. This is the first Valentine's Day video that I'm doing on the channel, and by the time I went to go get candy, there just wasn't any left, so I just settled for these chocolate chips. So just I guess just imagine that these are like kisses or something. So yeah, let's get started. Welcome back. Now, I'm aware that I just barely missed the holiday by like a week, but you know what? Better late than never. Just pretend it's Valentine's Day, and you'll probably enjoy this video a lot more. Now, this might be a controversial statement because I'm a man, but I love romantic comedies. I spent a lot of time watching them when I was a kid with my mom and my sister, and I just think in general they're fun movies to just turn your brain off and just enjoy what's in front of you, right? Like they can even get a little bit emotional, you know? You never know. It might tug at the heartstrings a little bit, and I think that's the beauty of romantic comedies in general. I feel like romantic content in general is in a really good place right now. Like, you have stuff like The Bachelor, which is, I'm pretty sure, watched by as many men as it is women, maybe like somewhat equal, a little bit less. But like, romantic stuff and romantic comedies aren't necessarily considered a gendered genre anymore. Like, they're not chick flicks. Like, we're in a really good spot where, like, I'm a grown man, and if I feel like turning on the wedding planner and having a good cry after a long week of work, that's my choice. I can do that. No one's really gonna make fun of me for it. Like, and if they do, they're the dork. This is the first of what I'd like to call my Girth movie reviews series. And I'm just a little basic rundown of how it works. It's like the 5-star system, where 1 star equals bad and 5 stars equals good. However, I'm substituting the stars for the word girth. So if I don't like the movie, it gets a G for 1 star, and then I progressively add more letters to the word until it's the full girth if it's a 5-star movie. That's just like a basic rundown. I'm not necessarily reinventing the wheel with it, but I feel like it's fun enough that I can make it my own. So that's the review system we're going in with this movie. To kick the series off, I'm going to be reviewing 2008's Maid of Honor, which was a romantic comedy that stars Patrick Dempsey, who is arguably the most 2000s actor to ever act in the 2000s. This guy was everywhere during that time. And I feel like once 2010 hit, he just ceased to exist, because I haven't seen him in anything since like he left Grey's Anatomy in like 2009, right? So like I have no clue where he went. I'm pretty sure he's off the grid because I have no idea where he went. But he's in this movie, and he's like the main draw because he's the main character of the movie. And it is very hard to enjoy this film. I'm just going to start off with that and just kind of dig into the meat, because there's really no way to segue into this film other than just like starting to talk about it. Maid of Honor begins the same way every 2000s movie was legally required to start. That is, with a sick-ass Smash Mouth track. And it opens up to this like party. It's like a Halloween party in 1998, where it's this guy in a Bill Clinton mask looking for his Monica Lewinsky. It's a very outdated reference, and I get where they were coming from, because this movie was made in 2008 when that was still somewhat of a relevant joke to make. But like, it just, looking at it like over a decade later, it's so weird. Just like, watch this snippet of it.
Hey, that dress needs dry cleaning.
Here you go.
Thank you kindly, Monica. Monica. Holy shit, Hillary.
The guy in the Bill Clinton mask is Tom, and he's our main character of the movie. And just right off the bat, he's not a guy you want to root for. He's very much an F-boy. Throw him on F-boy Island. That's who this man is. We also get introduced to the other main character of this movie, Hannah, who is the roommate of the girl that Tom's looking for, and he jumps in her bed thinking that she's who he's looking for. And so she justifiably gets upset and pepper sprays him, because that's what you're supposed to do when a strange man crawls into your bed. We then get a minute and a half of exposition of them talking to each other and just like going back and forth. And it's really uncomfortable because he's like psychoanalyzing her this whole time. They're like going back and forth with one another. And it's very cordial for a guy who just jumped into the bed of a random girl he didn't know and got pepper sprayed. Like, it's a weird, like, oh, hey, yeah, now we're buddies and friends. It makes no sense. Like, in a normal world, this wouldn't be happening, but we're in the world of Maid of Honor, and it's happening. So they like have a back and forth, and then they're like, oh, hey, I guess we're friends now. And then it just jumps 10 years into the future. Right off the bat, this flash forward wastes no time showing us that Tom is an absolute chick magnet. This guy's like going about his morning routine and there's just women like looking at him like, oh my God, he's so attractive. Like it's really weird, and it just feels like the fantasy of what like a weird dude would think is like when you're attractive. Because it's only this dude can't go like 2 steps without a woman looking at him in an attracted manner. Like it literally reintroduces him waking up in the bed of like another woman and then leaving and then going to the coffee shop and getting stared at by another woman. It makes no sense. There's also this moment of really bad editing that made me think this movie was going to take a complete 360. I feel like I'm not the only one who's going to see. Just watch this and tell me if I'm weird in the comments, because like I just feel like this is very horribly spliced together. I can't be the only one, because that genuinely looked like he was about to plow into a group of people. I could be wrong, but it just does not look good. It's very not well edited. So it's at this point it's revealed to us that Hannah and Tom are still friends after all this time, which if my first introduction to a person were them trying to have sex with me because they thought I was somebody else, I probably would never contact that person ever again in my life. I probably would have called campus police and never spoken to him again. But for some reason, they're still friends, and it's like a fondly reminisced thing. It's super weird. It's not realistic at all that they're still friends after that really horrible introduction to one another. Now, it's hammered home pretty quickly that Tom and Hannah are like a couple without being a couple. Like, they do things you would normally do with your significant other. Like, Hannah goes to Tom's dad's 5th wedding. Like, for some reason, that's like a part of a plot point that Tom's dad has been married like 5 times and he gets divorced all the time. Like, it's a really weird establishment for Tom's character. But like, they do things that if you were to look at them from afar, you would assume they would have been a couple for like multiple years. This dichotomy is broken when Hannah tells Tom that she has to go to Scotland for a 6-week work trip. And it's never really established why she needs to go. She just kind of goes, and I'm pretty sure they just needed to put the distance to keep the story going. And like, from this point, it just goes turbo mode to establish everything. Tom and Hannah are trying and failing to stay in contact, and nothing's really working. And Tom's trying to fill the void with other women and trying to do normal things he would normally do with Hannah, but with these other women, it's just not working out. And ultimately, this montage ends with Tom realizing that he has feelings for Hannah. At long last, 5 minutes later, the 6 weeks are up and Hannah's back in the States. Tom's super excited because this is his time that he's going to say, hey, I like you and I want to date you. And so he gets all pretty and he meets her at the restaurant that she wants to talk to him at. Now here we get introduced to the best character in this movie and the only good character in this movie. Before we go any further, I'm going to put a little meter up here that I like to call the Colin Points board, because there are multiple reasons to stay with and love this man. And as we go along, I'm going to add more points to the top. To get us started, we'll give him the first 3. He's Scottish. He's a gentleman. He's Scottish. He's the perfect man. 3 points on the board. Let's keep moving. So Hannah explains that she met Colin while she was in Scotland. Obviously, there's really no other place she could have met him. But they decided to date for a little bit while she was there. And before she left, he decided, hey, I love this woman and I want to get married to her. So it's a bit quick, it's a bit preemptive, but hey, they're in love and he asked her to marry him.
Tom, will you be my maid of honor?
They said the title of the movie in the movie. Now Tom's in a sticky situation, and there's a lot of ways he could have gone about it, right? From this point on, he could have said something like, hey, I'm sorry to tell you this now, but I have feelings for you. It's going to hurt too much for me to do this. I'm sorry I can't do it. He could have been like, yeah, I'll forego my feelings because I care about you and I want you to be happy. So yeah, I'll help you. I'll be your maid of honor. I'll do all that good stuff. Tom takes the unforeseen third option and decides to plot with his other friends to find a way to make Colin seem like a worse person in comparison. That's right. All the while that he's like, oh, yeah, I care about you and I want you to be happy, he's literally plotting to make this guy seem worse, which is very hard to do because we then get a series of scenes of Colin being absolutely fantastic. Like you have this one where he's playing basketball with his friends and Colin turns out to be an absolute hooper. He can dunk.
Oh, shit. Whoa. Right? Yeah. Hey!
My boy's got mad cow disease.
He's got a fat hog. Like, there's no way that they're going to make Colin a bad guy out of this entire thing. Like, there's even a point where one of Tom's friends is like, hey, I can get dirt on him. Apparently, he, like, works for the CIA or something. It's never established how he can do that. But he promises to find dirt on Colin and can't find anything. Like, you know how hard that is? Even in, like, 2008, when the internet wasn't as full-fledged as it is now. Like, people have records that would have been very easy to find back then, right? But like, no, they can't find anything. That's how great this guy is. He literally has done nothing bad in his life and does nothing but want to love Hannah. And it's just horrible that this is the angle the movie took. Rather than being like a mature, responsible adult film, it just makes them be like, oh, hey, yeah, we're going to try and make this guy out to be a bad guy, which isn't even possible. So that obviously doesn't work, right? Like, she still wants to be with Colin after that, right? And beyond that, the movie is pretty much the same thing. Like, it's just Tom trying to prove in a roundabout way, without saying that he's better than Colin, that he's better than Colin. So I'm going to skip a fat chunk of the movie and just get to the better part of the end of it, just to kind of save time, because I don't want this to be like a 30-minute video. So yeah, now we're going to fast forward to like the last 45 minutes of the movie. Hannah tells Tom that once she marries Colin, she's moving to Scotland permanently, and that kind of kicks him into high gear in terms of stealing this woman from her very loving fiancé. We get this really weird final moment of motivation from his friends, where they tell him that the goal is to steal the bride, which just does not sound fantastic.
Go get him, maid of honor.
Yeah, make this the perfect wedding.
And steal the bride.
Thanks, guys.
Tom and the other members of the bridal party fly out to Scotland for the wedding, which is like 2 days from that point, and we get some more fantastic reasons to love Colin. He lives in Scotland.
Art thou, my bonny lass, say deep in love am I, and I will love thee still.
He has the voice of an angel. Needless to say, chances are getting very thin for Tom. Things are looking very bleak for him at the moment. We get this brief point in the movie where the Scottish Highland Games are introduced, and for some reason, Tom gets the idea that he can steal Hannah from Colin by doing this. Like, for some reason, like, he literally has a moment where they're explaining the whole thing and he gets a smile on his face like, oh hell yeah, bro, I'm about to steal my best friend from her very loving fiance by beating him in a series of symbolic games that have no bearing on today's day and age, because now we live in a time where women have free will and rights and the capability to say who they love. Let's go. Oddly enough, Tom gets like super far in the Highland Games. Like, he like beats everybody else, which I find very unlikely, because there's like dozens of Scottish men who've been doing this their whole lives, and here comes the one American asshole who's just like doing things randomly. There's no way he got past the first round of stuff. They wrote it in to make it sound like he got there, but for some reason and somehow he gets to the end where it's him and Colin doing the final challenge, which is log flipping. Needless to say, Colin wins this one, and Tom does not get Hannah this time. Now, you would think by this point, Tom would be like, okay, I'm done, right? If I can't beat Colin in a ceremonial series of games, then I can't do this. I'm done. My goose is cooked, right? But no, he keeps going, and he actually makes a move on Hannah the night before the wedding is supposed to happen. They do this traditional Scottish thing where they go to a pub with like a pot and people can put money into that pot in exchange for like a peck on the lips, right? It's supposed to be, I think, like a bachelorette party type of thing. I don't know if they still do it or like if it was ever even really a thing, but that's what they go out and do for her last night, I guess, as like a non-married woman. And so they do all this and they're collecting all this money for her wedding. And then, oh no, all of a sudden here comes Tom and he just straight up kisses Hannah. I'm pretty sure he didn't even put money in the pot either, so that's a double asshole move on his part. So Hannah gets understandably upset and kicks Tom out of the wedding. And this is the time he decides to tell her he loves her. Like, this is when he gives his whole speech, and she's like, yeah, no, get out of here, I'm getting married tomorrow, right? So he's kicked out of the wedding, and now we're at like the last 15 minutes of the movie where it's the morning of the wedding. Tom does the normal, oh, I love her, I'm going to go fight for her thing that they do in romantic comedies. And the way he gets back to the church where the wedding's taking place is by stealing a horse. He just like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't even like shoot the guy at 20. He just takes the horse and runs with it. Like I'd be pissed. Like he's not even like, oh, it's for true love purposes. No, he just steals a horse and runs. It's a very inconsiderate thing for him to do. Tom enters the church in grand fashion by being flung off the horse and into the 2 heavy wooden doors of the church. And just like, he gets propelled with enough force to open those doors with just his noggin. Tom should be dead. He should for sure be dead. Like, watch this scene. Also, it's 2008, like, editing, so it's kind of goofy. But just, like, watch this and tell me that this man would not be dead.
Let him now speak or forever hold his peace.
Regardless of potential head trauma, Tom gets up and does his like final gung-ho, I love you, Hannah speech, right? And at this point, you would expect her to be like, hey, Tom, get the double F out of here, all right? I already kicked you out. I don't want you here, right? That is what you would expect from a logical, smart adult human being who is satisfied with where she is, being with a fantastic guy. She doesn't do that at all. That's right. She gives the ring back to Colin. She actively decides, I am going to go with Tom, right? This guy who single-handedly ruined my wedding, who she even acknowledges it. Like, watch this. She acknowledges that he ruined her wedding.
Thomas Bailey, you are the worst maid of honor of all time.
She even has the bold-faced gall to look him in the face and say this.
So you know, you are the perfect guy. Just not the perfect guy for me.
That's where you're wrong, honey. All right, Colin is perfect for everybody. You're not good enough for Colin. You're not right for him. Okay, Colin, who has, I'm pretty sure has like 10 points on the board at this point. And if he doesn't, I'm going to make it 10 points. I'm going to say he has 10 points. Colin is a fantastic human being. He deserves the entire world. He is the only good character in this movie. And that is precisely why I hate both of these characters the entire way of the movie. I hate them. Colin's the only good one. Now, we do get a rare moment of justice for the guy who gets screwed over, because Colin actually gets to punch Tom in the face, and it is very satisfying.
Colin, scalp on mollicating, tummel his wilkies, drittle his groin, and game a doing.
What'd she say?
She said I should deck you.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So Tom and Hannah get married, and that's the end of the movie. It is just 2 horrible people getting married to one another. Like, I feel no love. I feel no happiness at the end of this film. I'm feeling about Colin, who's in his castle right now, sobbing his eyes out because the woman he loved went with her maid of honor. Okay, like, you kidding me? That's like the worst thing you can do to a person. I only feel for Colin. This movie sucks, except for Colin. And now that I've explained the movie and you're just as upset as I am, it's time to do the rating. On the Girth meter, right, on our, like I explained earlier, right, G is 1 star, the full Girth is 5 stars. This movie is a G. It gets GI and that's it. It is a 2 out of 5. It has its moments. It can be charming. Colin alone gives them a full star, but I will not give this movie anything more. I hate this movie and I hate these people in it. It's a GI. It's a G. This is the first movie to be ever rated on my channel, and it's a 2 out of 5. And that's where I'm going to end today's video. Not because I want to deprive you of good content. It's just now I kind of want to go watch The Wedding Planner and have a good cry and write fan fiction of Colin getting his revenge on the 2 people that wronged him. So yeah, I'm going to go do that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here week after week. I'm pretty excited. One of my videos, my Local 58 video, is as of now 3 views away from 100 views. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Thank you. I appreciate that, of people coming back and watching it. So yeah, I hope everything goes great for you. I hope the week ahead treats you well, and I will see you next time.